Welcome back to the Real Cinema Squad. I'm Austin, and today we're going to review A Quiet Place Day 1. Now, this is a prequel to the first two Quiet Place movies that follows the Abbot family, but John Krasinski does return to write this story. But we get some new characters in this that is led by Lupita Nyong'o, who plays Sam, Joseph Quinn, who plays Eric, and Jaimin Hansu that plays Henry, who's also reprising his role from Quiet Place 2, which we'll get into in a little bit. But this movie is essentially to set up the story of what happened on the first day that these aliens arrived to Earth. And so, as we saw in Quiet Place 1 and 2, we really just followed the Abbott family and their life in the midst of upstate New York in the forest. And they encountered some of these aliens. They lost their son. But we really never got a sense of what was going on around the other sides of the world. And so, in this one, we get to see what happens when the aliens first crash land in New York. And so, following Lupita's character, Sam, she's in hospice. She has terminal cancer. She is suffering this disease. She is a pretty cynical character. And so as we get to learn more about her, we can kind of see that she's just kind of waiting out her days. Well, they get a chance to go to the city through this hospice care unit, her and the other patients. They go to the city. They get to watch this puppeteer show in the middle of the city. And that's when the action starts. That's when the aliens fall down. We get to see them come from the sky, crash land, pretty much just wreak havoc on New York. And that's when we start to get this suspense of Lupita being one of the surviving members and her walking around New York trying to find her way to survive. So one of the things here is that really this whole story is predicated on the fact that Lupita's character, Sam, she came to the city because she is reminiscing on her time as a little girl where her father was a jazz musician. And she's wanting pizza from the place that she went to as a little girl with her father. And one of the funniest things is that even after the aliens fall, her mission was still at the heart of it was to relive those childhood memories about her father. And so that was her goal, even with the world under attack from these aliens. And so along the way, she meets some interesting characters. She comes across many survivors, whether children or elderly, where you can kind of see everybody trying to make their way across New York and survive. What we see is that the government has come in, and not only do they have helicopters, but they also have boats. And they're encouraging people to get to these boats to survive because these aliens can't swim. While most of New York is trying to do that, Lupita's character is solely set on trying to find this pizza. But hey, they say New York pizza is the best, so maybe it was worth it. One of the things I find very interesting about this movie is that, you go to the movies, and for years, growing up going to the movies, you've seen the whole tagline, silence is golden. And I feel like that's never been more appropriate until now because, yeah, even when there's movies going on, usually you can hear them eating their popcorn, drinking their soda, making a lot of noise, right? But usually the movie's loud enough where it's not really bothering you too much. But with a movie like this, it's so surreal when you're sitting into a movie that is mostly quiet and the characters are quiet. And you're sitting there and you're like trying very quietly to eat your candy, right? Or not make noise or not move your seat up and down. You're trying not to disturb the peace here. Like the alien's going to come out and jump out on the screen on you. But that's just a fun little anecdote. It's pretty interesting seeing a movie like this that predicates itself on mostly silence. It really has your focus as the audience member. But along the way, Lupita's character Sam comes across Joseph Quinn's character, who we know Joseph Quinn from the most recent season of Stranger Things, where he played Eddie. Really memorable performance there. But Joseph Quinn is playing a guy named Eric, who is from Great Britain, from Europe, and he is in New York getting a law degree. And so he has no family there. He's pretty terrified. And when he comes across Lupita's character, they're just trying to survive together. Lupita doesn't really want him there, but they're just trying to survive together. And they really end up forming this bond that I felt like was really great chemistry between the two. Two strangers from two completely different worlds, but they came together. And he really helped her out, especially with her illness and what she needed. We got to see a lot of really cool character moments there. And one of the things, we get to a place in the story where Sam and Eric are in a church. They found their way into a church and she's not feeling well. She needs some medicine. And she asks Eric to go out and get her some medicine. And so he goes out and finds this. Well, on the way back, the character of Sam, she has a cat in this movie, and the cat follows Eric to the drugstore. And so on the way back to the church, the cat kind of runs off on its own and ends up in this area, which is kind of where the aliens kind of have like a home base. And there's some like little egg pods there where the aliens are eating off of. And you see, it was either the king or the queen of this group that came in, and Eric and the cat, barely made it out with their lives. But what I thought was interesting here is we got to see a different side of these aliens, where we got to kind of see how they eat, how they live, how they communicate. I was fully expecting there to be a really a big origin story of where these aliens come from, all that kind of stuff. They really keep that pretty down low. You know, we really don't find anything else out. We really just see how the humans have adapted to this on the first day of the alien invasion. One of the other things that I want to talk about is this cat. So I just mentioned this cat. It's Lupita's cat. This is the most resilient cat that I've ever seen in the movie. There's a scene where they end up in the sewers and they have to go underwater, and they shove the cat in this bag and they come out on the other side so the alien doesn't get them. I don't know how this cat didn't drown. I don't know how this cat survived the entire movie. And what's even most unrealistic about this is the cat doesn't even make a noise when it sees the aliens or anything. It doesn't meow. For a movie that's predicated on having to stay silent, I could have sworn this cat was going to ruin it for these characters and they were all going to die. But hey, this cat was like the most chill cat I've ever seen. So good for you, cat. You know, one of the things that I really thought was funny about this movie is that they're all trying to find ways to not make noise. And you have a scene where Eric and Sam are in her old house and it starts pouring down rain and thundering, and they just start yelling off the top of their lungs because, you know, the aliens can't hear them with the thunder and everything outside. What happens if someone's sleeping in the middle of the night and they start snoring really loud? They're a big snorer. Is the alien not going to hear that and just go kill them in their sleep? I mean, stuff like that, you wonder, right? But I don't know. I guess we'll never see that. We get towards the end, and I'm not going to spoil the ending for any of you who haven't seen it, but we do meet back up with Djimon Hounsou's character, Henry. We saw him at the beginning of the movie. He was there in the puppet show where the hospice care patients were, but then we see him at the end near the boats. And so I'm really thinking that they included him here because we saw him at the end of Quiet Place 2. He was on that island where the Abbot family ended up, and he was, taking care of them. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing some more of these characters in Quiet Place 2. I have no doubt John Krasinski is going to create another one, and we're going to continue the story with the Abbots. But it was really cool to see some of these characters connect, and I think paving the way for the story to move forward. Overall, it was a great movie. The story was pretty solid. The characters were really solid. I think there was a lot of heart here, especially with Lupita's character, Sam. I think we really got to see her progress from someone who's very cynical about her condition to somebody who has found peace with her life because of what she was reminiscing with her dad. And at the end of the day, that was a really heartfelt moment. So we'd love to know what your thoughts are in the comments. So comment below, like this video, and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time.